Hey folks, I'm Dave Isaacs, and today we're going to take a look at a classic riff in open E tuning from Stay With Me by the Faces. Check this out. 1, 2, 3. So you can see how these chords are so easy to play, and it's got such a great, powerful grinding sound, especially when you distort it a little bit. Now, open E tuning is actually less common than the more familiar open G or even open D, but it is a great sound, and there's a lot of songs that use it. Aside from this one, Stay With Me, which happens to be in the key of A, interestingly enough, and we'll look at that in a second. The Black Crowes song, She Talks to Angels, is in open E. The Allman Brothers' Little Martha, Duane Allman's Little Martha, is in open E, and he actually played in open E to play slide a lot. Joni Mitchell's Big Yellow Taxi is in open E tuning, and Joni supposedly started playing in open E because she didn't like to play bar chords. Now, some of you might say, well, isn't that a bar chord when you've got to hold that one finger down across all the strings? And yeah, it is. But it does change the dynamic a little bit. Let's talk about how we get here. Open E tuning is a high-strung tuning, which means we need to raise the pitch of our strings. We're going to start with the low E and leave it there, because obviously it's an E. But we're going to raise the fifth string a whole step from A to B. Now I'm tuned already because I want to be able to stay in tune, and you're going to find, especially with a high-strung tuning, that your guitar will try to go back to standard, and you're going to have to retune it a few times while you get it to settle into that open tuning. So be aware of that. E, raise the A string a whole step to B, raise the D string a whole step to E, and we now have an open power chord on strings 6, 5, and 4. Raise the third string a half step to G sharp. So what we've just done is taken the notes that would be under your fingers in an E shape and raise the open strings to match those notes. We're going to leave the high B alone, we're going to leave the high E alone, and so our tuning, low to high, is E, B, E, G sharp, B, E. Now, you can play these riffs two ways. You can flatten out that index finger like I just did, or you can bend it back and wrap the thumb around this side of the neck. If your hand's big enough, you might find that this is the more comfortable way to go. And I do think it gives you a little more fine control over the riff. But here's with one finger. It's certainly very close. My hand is just not quite big enough for that thumb to feel good, especially this high up the neck. If you watch video of the Faces, you will see Ronnie Wood, the guitarist, playing this fingering. And what I do like about that is that I do find it easier to make this distinct. Here's what happens. We do a hammer-on the A string, and then flatten this finger. I'm going from 12 to 14, and then double stop upstroke, and then either the flat bar or this finger downstrokes here on the E string, and now the G and B string still under this finger, but maybe I've just got a partial bar. I'm touching 3 strings. I'm going to pick 2, the third and the second. Notice the space between them. I hit the first one, release the left hand pressure, and then come back. This is middle and ring, landing on the G and D strings, the G string at 13, the D string at 14, and then down to a 2-string bar with index at 12, 4th string, 3rd string. So hammer on 12, depending again on how long your thumb is, you might really find it awkward to make that ring and manage this hammer-on. So here is with the bar. I'm working a little harder to be specific that way in terms of what's ringing, but I think it works well. So once again, hammer-on 12, A string, double stop, 2 notes, bass, and then flatten G and B strings, middle ring on 13, 14, index on 12. Then we're dropping down to the 10th fret. This is an E chord, by the way, which makes this a D. Just flatten that finger, or again, partial bar plus thumb. And then we're going to do the same figure with middle ring here. So it's the same formation that I had before. And then dropping down to fret 5. And really there are 3 basic formations that we use. There's the middle ring. There is, that's strings 3 and 4. There is ring on string 4 and ring on string 5. And when we're down on this A chord, ring and hammer the ring. Notice my right hand, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's pull-offs. But maybe we do hit an upstroke. Up, 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 down, down. Down, down, up, 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 down, down. Down, up, down, up, up, up. If you find those rhythms challenging, mute your strings and just try 1, 2, and 3, and up, 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 down, down. 1, down, up, down, up, 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 up. And as you get more controlled, you'll have an easier time bringing out certain parts of the chord. And remember that part of the beauty of this whole business is that we can hit any piece of the chord and still hear, in this case, 5th fret bar, an A chord. Now this riff is only the first section of the song, it's basically the intro, and then we kick into a new tempo. We go through this E, E, 12th fret, D on the 10th, and then just land on that 5th fret A. There's a keyboard lick, and we're going to come in, landing on an offbeat. Here's the bar again. I'm just playing basically a Chuck Berry kind of figure from the flat bar across the bass strings. I'm not worrying about everything right now. I'm just getting this. And then using my ring finger on the A string at fret 7. Push. Push. So there's 2 figures we might see here. One is simply 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. So those are the pushes. But now we've got this syncopated 1 and 2 and down and down, down, up, up, down, down. At any point, you can throw in one of the other 2 figures we've been using. The ring finger on the D string, or on the A string, like I just did. We could use these 2 fingers, middle ring on 4-3. So even for the verse, find that rhythm challenging? 1 and 2, down, up, down, down, da, 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 do, da, do, ba. Down, 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 up, down, down. And you're going to land that ring finger down on the A string. 1 and 2, and a 3, E, and 4, and 1 and 2, and a 3, E, and 4. Or even if you just play 1 and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1 and 2, and 3, and 4. Notice that finger lands on the backbeat every time. Okay, this is a basics fundamentals lesson. There is so much to get into if we wanted to talk about the lead part and slide guitar, and that's a whole other area. But I really basically want to show you this main riff here, which is laying the slide, and this is not a slide lesson. If you've never done this before, you want to brush up on the basics of this. But in short, I've got the slide laying across all 6 strings, absolutely parallel to the fret. I am underneath, so my knuckle is back here, so the slide can point straight up. My fingers are also extended and behind the slide so they can mute any extraneous sound made by metal on the strings. And the trick is not to squeeze. The trick is to float. You can just glide. And the way to really get that is to learn how to mute and control your pressure. So I mute with the left hand by dragging behind the slide. I mute with the right hand by resting fingers or my pick on other strings. Watch this. 5th fret, this is off an A chord. I'm just going to slide 4, 5 on the G string, 5 on the B string, 4, 5 on the G, 5 on the E. So, 3rd string slide up, 2nd string, 3rd string slide up, 1st string, 2nd string, 1st string. So the high note just goes back and forth between string 2 and string 1. 2, 1, 2, 1. And then same thing on the B chord at the 7th fret. 10th fret D. Back. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's the primary riff, and you could play it with fingers too. Anyway, I tripped on that, but you get the idea. It's not quite the same sound, but it is somewhat distinct, and I think what's probably happening is that there is some pretty specific muting in the picking hand. There often is with slide players. And I can't speak to the specifics of Ronnie Wood on this song, but it does sound good. If I pick and do some muting so that that 3rd string isn't always ringing over. So what I'm doing is using my pick to land when I switch to the middle finger on the B string. 7th, 10th, and back. There's another riff he plays, but again, I said I'm just touching on this main riff. Later in the song, it comes back an octave higher, starting at fret 17. And you may find up here that you got to bring that left thumb or that fret hand thumb around. Changes your balance a little. Now fret 19 is the B. And then, I don't even have a 22nd fret. But it doesn't matter, you can find it. Notice where my thumb is though. I've come all the way around in front of the neck. So here's one thing. Up here, I have to come around or I really can't reach. And again, you have no fret here to gauge visually. Just listen for it. So anyway, that's a lot. But The basic riff is not difficult to play, and if you're new to open tunings and just messing around with these bass string figures, just getting used to the idea of a flattened bar that is only covering 2 or 3 strings on the bass side, in the middle, on the treble side, and then simply working around it by adding and removing fingers or pairs of fingers. And it opens up so many great things, and that's not even touching on all the awesome sounds you can get by working with movable shapes and combining those with open ringing strings. I mean, it's a whole world into itself, and there are people who, once they start playing in open tunings, they just stay there, and that's all they do. Definitely something to explore. I really love the song. I found a live performance of this on YouTube not too long ago that I will link below just because it was so great. And it's just got me obsessed with this sound. So I've got this guitar staying in open E for a while, and we'll see where it takes us. Thanks for watching. I always appreciate you guys. If you don't subscribe, please do. Please visit NashvilleGuitarGuru.com if you don't subscribe to my mailing list, or if you have not seen the blog, which has, at this point, 100 and some. It's got quite a number of educational posts on there. There's a lot of value on there. Please check it out. Thanks for watching. I'm Dave Isaacs, and I'll see you next time.